Shalom Israel, this is your King and Shepherd KD coming with another message of daily edification brought to you through the Spirit and power Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All praises due. Pray you had a blessed weekend. More information for you. Most High really dialing things in, man. Especially, for me and for us. So when I get it, I give it to y'all. I was thinking about the order of things, how is it going to go down? Who's going to get this and who's going to go first? Well, Most High pretty much showed me how it's going to go. All right. Well, let's go to, we're going to start off in Matthew again. There's been a very hot scripture, but must needs go back to refer to it again. All right, Matthew chapter 24, verse 29, right? When it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened and the moon not give her light. We got that down. Stars shall fall from heaven and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Got that down. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. Like I said, that's because they're going to see us when we get changed. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, right? Now, after that, after all that's done, then he says that he's going to send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together the elect from the four winds of from one end of heaven to another. So they're going to converge on one spot, right? And then after that, Yahushua is going to disperse them to come get y'all. So where's he going first? Well, coming here first. Coming here first. Coming to me. I'm going to prove it. Let's go to Revelations chapter 11. Starting at verse 1. It says, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, rise and measure the temple of the power, and the altar, and them that worship therein. Let me get a translation comparison. It says, then was given a measuring stick, and it was told, go and measure the temple of the power and the altar, and count the number of worshipers, right? So, he already knows how many of us it is. Verse 2. But the court which is without the temple, leave it out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall be tread under foot 40 and 2 months. Now let me show y'all something. This is all right. So this is, this is Colorado right here, the red dot, right? Right. So when he says measure the temple, that's it. That's all us. But then he said, don't measure the outer regions. That's where the Gentiles going to be at. We're in Colorado. Okay. Now let me read that again. Verse 2, Revelation chapter 11, verse 2. But the court which is without the temple, leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 40 and 2 months. Now, all of this is ours. Turtle Island is ours. That's what's called Turtle Island. See how I kind of look like a turtle? Got the leg here, and yeah, they call it Turtle Island. Now, all of that's ours, but you got an inner court and an outer court. The inner court is where the small remnant is going to be. That's us. Now, outside of that, that's where the Gentiles are going to tread underfoot Jake. All of those that refused to, all of those that refused salvation, they're going to be in them outer courts getting trampled on by the Gentiles, right? Now, verse 3. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the power of before the power of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceeds out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Right? These have the power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them into blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. Now, the 2 olive trees are Israel and Judah. Okay? That's happened already. Verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. That's what happened to us already. Right? Verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. We know Yahushua was crucified again here because his name was crucified. They killed him on the cross, then they killed his name and switched it to JC, right? So he was crucified twice. Now, verse 9. And they of the people and kindred and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. How many times we went through this? Right? The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Right? Okay. So, we lost our identity. We lost our customs. We lost everything. So we were dead, but we're walking around spiritually dead. Right? Verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry. That's where you get Merry Christmas from. And shall send gifts one to another. All this is taking place. Ever since I was a kid, you know, growing up, we had Christmas trees and all of that, right? Celebrating our own demise without knowing it. Because these 2 prophets that tormented them that dwell on the earth. Now, after 3 days and a half, 350 years, all right, the spirit of life from the power entered into them, and they stood up on their feet. Now, that's what's happened already. But we ain't been stood up on our feet yet. Right now, we have been revived spiritually. We know who we are. We know we're the Israelites. We know all of this. We got the royal house built. The king has been identified. All right. And the house has been established. Right. All that's been done. Now, they stood up on their feet. When we stand up on our feet, that means when Yahushua comes, when the Lord descends from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel at the sound of the last trump, we will all be changed. That's when we stand on our feet, right? And what did I tell y'all? He ain't gonna just come up and change it and boop, we gone. No. It says, and great fear fell upon them which saw them, right? So, they're going to see us, okay? Now, look at verse 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. Now, That's the Father in his final form. That's why I said he coming here first. The Father has to be changed first. And then those that remain are going to be caught up down on the ground too. And that's all around here, y'all. He coming here. I'm going to prove it to you. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. So they're going to watch. They're going to watch this small remnant out here where we at be pulled up into the clouds, right? Now, this how you know that it's here. I'm going to prove it to you. Look at verse 13. It's all through the Spirit. And the same hour when we get pulled up here in Lancaster, California, when we get pulled up here, the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. And the remnant, the small remnant, right, were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. Now, what is Cali known for? What is our biggest thing that everybody knows us for? Earthquakes. Do you know I stay about 20 miles due west of the San Andreas Fault? The worst fault in the country, maybe on the planet. And that thing has been threatening to erupt, all right, for years. Now, if you've never been to Cali, if you ain't never been in an earthquake, man, earthquake will scare the shit out of you, all right? People, when they experience their first good earthquake here, a lot of them, they'll move to a whole nother state because they don't want to experience it again because it's so terrifying. So he's saying right here that after the eclipse, okay, after the sun is darkened and the moon not give her light, he's going to follow it with an earthquake. Right? And he's going to do that right here. Now, where else did that happen? Well, let's see. Matthew chapter 27. Verse 49. The rest said, let be, let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Now this is when Yahushua was on the cross. Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. Verse 51. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent from twain, from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, all right, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city and appeared unto many. See? So, now, let's go back to Revelations 11. What does it say? Again, after we are changed from mortality to immortality, from corruption to incorruption, that's us being resurrected from the dead, all right? And then he said in that same hour after we get that, there's going to be a great earthquake. And where's that earthquake going to be? Right here in the earthquake capital of the world, where I grew up, okay? And when it says a 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, it ain't saying it's going to be just 7,000 men. 7 is the number of completion. It's going to probably be 100,000 people that die from this shit, man. Because it says the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. Now look what it says, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So the third woe is the last one, right? Look at verse 15. And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever. So at that moment, earth has now been taken from the hand of the wicked and transferred back into the Most High's hands forever. These wicked ass angels will never get it again. Verse 16. And the 24 elders which sat before power on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped the power. Why? Because the Father is now back in the building. Verse 17, saying, we give thee thanks, O Lord Almighty, which art and was and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and has reigned. Now this ain't Yahushua, this the Father. That's why he said, O Lord Almighty, which art and was and art to come, because thou hast taken thee thy great power and has reigned. So the reason the 24 elders fell on their faces is because before the Father went up, okay, they was in the seat. But once he come up in that chariot, they're going to come down and bow. Okay? Look at verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. So now it's time to get to the judgment. The earth is going to be judged from here on out. Look at verse 19. And the temple of power was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. Now, check it out. Verse 19. It says, and the temple of power was opened in heaven. So guess what? The temple wasn't open yet. The Father got to go up in there and open it. And the first thing you see when you open it is you see the Ark of the Covenant. It's up there. How is I bringing it with him? And then there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. So that's where we headed, y'all. All right. That's how it's going to go down. That's how it's going to go. Like I said, we wrapping things up. We're going to be out of here. We on countdown. All right. Immediately after tribulation, this is when we can look for it. All right. It's confirmed in my spirit. You just better be ready. Are y'all out there? Are you meditating? Are you making sure that everything is good between you and your Creator? All right. Are you treating your fellow Israelite correctly? Are you showing them that love? All right. Are you doing everything you can to stay on your square? All right. Because the devil gonna be after you now. He's gonna be after you. He's gonna try to get you to fuck up and do something stupid. All right. So this is the time for you to reflect. The Most High said, let me get Isaiah. Isaiah 42:9. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare before they spring forth. I tell you of them. All right. So he's telling us what's coming. Okay. He's telling us what's coming before they spring forth. That's why I'm getting all this now. That's why I'm giving it to you. Right. Don't sleep on this, man. Don't sleep on this. Let's go to that Joel 2:23. Joel chapter 2. Verse, you know what, I'm going to start at verse 18. Then will the Lord be jealous for his land and pity his people. Yea, the Lord will answer and say unto his people, behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and you will be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. That's his promise to us. Verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things. So that's already been done. This is why the U.S. military is stretched so thin, okay? Verse 21, fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice, for the Lord will do great things. Verse 22, be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring. For the tree beareth fruit, the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. 23, here's the meat. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your power. For he hath given you the former rain moderately. That's this word, this understanding. And he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain. Now, you know what that is? Let's go through it again. He hath given you the former rain moderately. What is that? That's the knowledge of this word, of the former things. All right? Now, when he shows up in the chariots, and he will cause to come down for you the rain. That's the reality. All right? That's the reality of everything that you've been taught here. The rain, the former rain, and the latter rain. All right? In the first month. So what's the first part of the month? Got April 1st through the 8th, right? Right? So, he's already told us how he's going to do it. And now he's told us when we're going to do it. Psalms 110:3. And after that, thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power. In the beauties of holiness, from the womb of the morning, thou hast the dew of thy youth. The dew of thy youth. The former rain and the latter rain of the first month. That ties into Psalms 110, verse 3. Let me read it again. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your power. For he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain in the first month. Look at verse 24. And the floor shall be full of wheat, and the fat shall overflow with wine and oil. Verse 25. And I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten, the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. And that's what he mentioned early on in Joel chapter 2, up top here. What he says, verse 3, a fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as a garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap. Like those of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run up on the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Man, right there again. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Who can abide in it? Now we drop it back down to verse 25. He says, and I will restore you the years that the locusts have eaten, the cankerworm and the caterpillar and the palmer worm, and my great army which I sent among you. Now, that's the 144,000. That's the army. I already told you, the brothers here, this is the king's guard. This is a detachment for the king. Every king has to have that. You know? So, hey, we the only ones ready for that. Ain't no camps got that. Ain't no camps got that are ready for none of what I'm talking about. They don't have no rank and file. All right. They still, they got, let me show you what the camps got that's so damn funny. They got priests. They got prophets. All right. And then they got all of these and they lined up, hundreds of them. But that's not a military structure though. It's not. All right. That's not a military order. That's not rank and file. All right. Number one, you under the wrong covenant. Right. You got to be under the law of liberty. And you think Yahushua coming back. He said that he's standing on the top of Mount Zion with 144,000. All right. So he has rank and file. That's an army. How you going to have an army of prophets and an army of priests? Number one, all y'all out there calling yourselves prophets, you're not prophets, man. A prophet gives you new information. All y'all doing is regurgitating what's already been said. So how are you prophets? A prophet is saying things that's going to happen many years from now. All y'all did was wake up and say what's already been said. So how are you prophets? You're not. You're you're frauds. Now, if I said, 200 years from now, such and such and such gonna happen, and then you gotta wait 200 years for that to happen, for it to come to pass, then that's different. But all that's happening now is the prophets of old prophesied about what's happening now. They were prophets. Y'all ain't no prophets. How are y'all prophesying? That's like that's like the teacher giving you a homework assignment, all right? And you do the homework assignment, you write a report on, say, I don't know, farms or cars or something. And then here comes somebody else writing down everything you did, and then they said they did the homework assignment. They didn't do the homework assignment. You did. It was your own ideas. It was your own writings. All right? It was what was revealed to you to write about a certain subject, and then you put it out there. And with prophecy, it's the same thing. The Most High tells you something, and you speak it, and it takes hundreds of years for it to come to pass. But y'all ain't doing that. Y'all prophesying from the Bible. All right? That don't make you a prophet. That just means you repeating what's already been said to confirm that the prophecy has come to pass. That does not make you a prophet. That's why the Bible says, a king shall reign in righteousness and princes shall rule in judgment. We judge off of the prophecies. We judge off of the gospels. We judge off of that. But that does not make you a prophet. You're not coming with no new information. And y'all call me dumb. Y'all say I'm the one that's off. Well, prove it. You're a priest with no priesthood. You claim to be under the law of Moses with no tabernacle and no animal sacrifice. And then when somebody try to corner your ass and say, What covenant are we under? You can't say. Oh, I keep the righteous acts. That ain't a covenant, nigga. You know what I'm talking to. That ain't no covenant, man. You rehearse the righteous acts from the Apocrypha. Okay, fine. But you could do that under the new covenant or under the law of Moses. Which one is it? You don't want to say because you don't want to be nailed down to either one of them because you full of shit. See? You niggas ain't slick. But anyway, I want to make it clear how it was going to go down in the order so that you know. Once the Father is established in that chariot, all right, the throne is open for business after that, and the Most High has claimed his planet and his universe back, then Yahushua going to dispatch the angels to come and see y'all and get y'all. So that's why you need to be preparing, all right? You need to be preparing. Oh yeah, get excited. Do backflips. Run around the block. It's coming, all right? I have no reservations about this at all. None. Zero. Okay? So, all I can do is I hope y'all excited with me, man. Get yourselves together. Whatever you got to do, clear your spirit and be prepared to be received, right? Yahushua on his way, right? So I want to give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahushua, all right? All praise is due. Y'all chew on this a bit, and I'll get the next one coming, all right? KD out. Shalom.